What's up, everybody? Thanks for taking the time to be here and show love to the channel. Whether you hate, whether you show support, hey, it's all appreciated. We got another episode of Tony Talk CFB right here for y'all. Tune in. It's the 2025 prediction of a long-time rivalry that people forgot about called Catholics versus Convicts. Fun fact, by Brent Musberger. On October 15th, 1988, number 4 Notre Dame upset number 1 ranked Miami 31-30, ending UM's 36-game regular season win streak, and that's Steve Walsh's only loss as a 2-year starter. That year, Notre Dame finished 12-0 and NCAA champs. Brent Musberger said the environment was bananas, y'all. Just to have a good language, let's just be real. There was fights popping off before the game when college football was really college football. You know, when the flags weren't being thrown like that, the ejections weren't happening. There was a fight coming out the tunnel. Look, y'all check this video out.
Brent Musberger, who called the 1988 Miami Notre Dame game that became known as Catholics versus Convicts. What do you remember about going into that game?
It was unbelievable, Dan. The environment around South Bend. You know, the one real regret that I have is when NBC, God bless them, they took control of the Notre Dame home games, and I wasn't able to go back in after that to do it. It's one of the great settings, and this one was special. You have to remember, and this was another game I did with Ara Parsigan at the booth, Jimmy Johnson and the Canes trampled Jerry Faust down in Miami in his final game as head coach. Now, let's be perfectly honest. Faust, who had done a great job at Massillon High School in Ohio, was in over his head as the head coach, but he was such a wonderful man. He was so great to be around. He loved children, loved him to death, and the Canes pounded on him, and they never let up. They'd have put 100 up if they could have. Believe me. I know Jimmy Johnson likes to go around and say, oh, it was a terrible team. They brought it down themselves, blah, 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 blah. Nonsense. That Cane team wanted to bury Notre Dame that particular day. And at some point in the fourth quarter, in a quiet, distinguished way, Ara Parsigan, as my analyst said, I would have thought that Coach Johnson would have shown more compassion. Yeah. Well, there was a great writer down in Miami at the Herald, Edwin Pope, and he unloaded on Parsigan at Notre Dame. Went to the front page of the Miami Herald, and game on. Lou Holtz then came in. Ara and I did a game up with Minnesota. Holtz was the coach of Minnesota. It was the only time in his life that Ara ever asked me to please stay out of the room, but I knew what was going on. Ara was talking to Holtz about coming to South Bend. Then the good fathers allow Holtz to go out and get some hurricane-type football players. Get them in there, okay? So we go to the stadium that day in South Bend, and this youngster walks up to me and hands me the T-shirt. Catholics versus the Convicts. I've still got it in some storage box up in Montana, Dan. I'll never forget it. I go in. We're all set. We're getting ready to do the game. You know, we got a prepackage, just a prepackage. And then I hear there's a fist fight in the tunnel. Yeah. We got to throw everything out. So it starts. Ishmael was directly involved in whatever happened in that tunnel, but they've changed the procedure for allowing visiting players and home players to come out of that signal tunnel in South Bend ever since. And it was a great day. It was a great football game, okay? And it came down to Cleveland Gary lunging to get a first down around the goal line, and he didn't get it. To this day, it's the only time that Jimmy Johnson will get mad at me when he sees me, because Pat Hayden and I both said he didn't have the first down, and it was Notre Dame football. And then in the end, it came down to a two-point conversion. It was knocked out. It was, you know, it's funny. Not every game do I remember, obviously, but this is certainly one that still resonates. But make no mistake about this. This was not a bunch of privileged children at Notre Dame. These were very, very good football players, and they could slug it out with anybody, and they did that day against a very talented Miami team. Jimmy Johnson's run down in Miami was remarkable. The Blades brothers and Irvin and all those guys, Testaverde, all of those guys, loved being around them. I don't think that this is quite Catholics versus the Convicts, too. I know because of that game. I think it's a little bit different. Yeah. You know, Mark Richt is not the same style as Jimmy Johnson. Brian Kelly's got fire in his belly. He's a little bit like Lou Holtz. We've seen him lose it on the sideline. It's going to be a heck of a football game. This is the first time. This is the first Saturday of this year that I'm missing not being in the arena. That's a game I would love to call.
now that y'all know there's been some bad blood behind these two teams at times, the rivalry does go back, but it's a forgotten rivalry. However, because Notre Dame, let's be real, conference wise and playing Miami, it's not a repetitive thing, but people are asleep on the fact that this Catholics versus convicts thing was really a thing. Especially now, people in our generation now that are growing up to be Hurricane fans and the new kids coming up, they don't know about this. So this game is huge. It's actually the game opener for Miami Hurricanes with a new quarterback after replacing Cameron Ward. So we're going to jump into it, what we can expect from both sides of the ball. I'm not going to be biased here. I am a Miami Hurricane fan for life. Go tune into my Sean Taylor video, y'all, and I dropped the Miami Dolphin video on Quinn Ewers. But besides that, let's get into what to expect. Like I said, on both sides of the ball, defensively, offensively, my predictions, my opinions, and you guys can have a sword fight in the comment section if you want to about what you think and how you think it's going to play out. But I do know one thing, though. This environment is going to be crazy, and I will be there, by the way. There's no way I'm not going in an opening game. Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish, coming to the Miami Hurricanes. But Notre Dame is stacked, y'all, and they are coming off a national championship run, y'all. All right, with Marcus Freeman as head coach, they're a whole different beast than they were. All right, they always were, they've been a powerhouse. They're a great team. But this year, last year, with Riley Leonard at quarterback, they were a great team. And this year, they still got a great team. Let's just be real. Their coaching is great. Everything about them is great right now. We can't try to shortcut them just because it's not my team. But hey, Miami has some question marks, so does Notre Dame. Let's jump into it. All right, y'all. So let's start off with the obvious part of this equation. Cameron Ward, #1 draft pick in the Hurricanes, probably the best quarterback ever to come through Miami. But he fell short a couple games, y'all, and Miami's defense got exposed. After that, Miami took the steps to get a new D-line coordinator in Corey Heatherman. And he was a linebacker coach formerly. Why is that so important here, y'all? Why? Because linebackers are going to be the main thing you're going to need to stop this run game with Jeremiah Love, arguably the best running back in the whole college football, y'all. They got to put a stop to him, okay? But let's start off with that. Replacing Carson Beck is a veteran here, y'all. Okay, he's played in the SEC, has been back up in national championships. Let's just be real. As a veteran now, did he bounce back from that injury? Can he throw the same? The question mark is at Miami is the receiver position, y'all. Malachi Tony. I think Elijah Lofton will be who Miami will probably rely on throwing the ball, but our running backs can be receiving backs too. Our running back room is a problem as well, and our O-line is top in the country. You can't sleep on them. Notre Dame's D-line struggles in size a little bit, but let's see. Their secondary is nothing to be messed up with, y'all. So if our receivers cannot make plays for Beck, of course the run game will be put in effect. It's Miami Hurricanes. We rush. We got Fletcher. We got Jordan Lau. They've proven to be effective. Carson Beck takes some pressure off him. But Marcus Freeman is going to try to counter that and make us go in the air defensively. But before we get ahead, let's stay on the quarterbacks. C.J. Carr and Kenny Minchey, they were battling it out in Notre Dame. Who's going to be the starter? I can't tell you. But with the Fighting Irish, you have a C.J. Carr probably going to be the starter, right? And he has to be able to adjust to the college pace. He has to build chemistry with the wide receivers, which, by the way, their wide receivers actually took an upgrade this year from last year. Minchie can actually run better, but decisions can be off sometimes. Carr will probably win the battle, but can he absorb the scheme and play well? He's a redshirt freshman. Notre Dame has a great O-line, but can this freshman hold down the pressure their whole schedule? That's the whole thing. Your opening game is Miami in the Hard Rock Stadium, one of the worst stadiums you can go to at that time as a game opener with the team, how we got it, and how Miami is bumping back right now. Like, you're going to go into an environment where a freshman is going to show you, it's going to either make you or break you, y'all. So in that quarterback position, Miami is going to have to stop this run. Okay? Jeremiah Love is going to be what they're going to rely on. And they got a great O-line, so I don't blame them for that. Okay. Now, what we need to do is get Zachariah Poyser, right? Which is a transfer safety from Jacksonville State. And he has to help contain the run by trying to force Notre Dame to throw the ball. We might be able to win. He has to try to maybe help in the box a little bit with the run. Why the linebackers are important? Because they stop Jeremiah Love. I believe in Wesley Bissaint. I believe in this new defensive coordinator. He's very hands-on, tough, got a lot of grit. He got a good MO in this thing. I think we addressed those issues. So defensively, I think we're a lot better off. O.J. Frederick, cornerback with Xavier Lucas matched up. I think they're going to be a great matchup going against these receivers. But can they stop them? Another question is who's going to play nickel on defense and stop Jaden Greathouse? Did we forget about Jaden Greathouse? Let's not forget about Jaden Greathouse, y'all. So we're going to need some extra run support no matter what. That's going to be needed. This year's Notre Dame wide receivers will be better. and they can drive the ball probably better. But this is going to be a very impactful matchup with Frederick and Xavier Lucas. That's just the fact about it. Okay. Can they stop this actual football game and the pace of it on the run game from Notre Dame? On the run game from Miami? Who's going to win in the trenches? That's what the most important thing is here. People tend to forget that the trenches is where the battle starts. O-line and D-line. On D-line, you got Ruben Bain, Mesidor. You got a few people on this D-line. Miami D-line isn't huge, but yo, they got some talent. If Ruben Bain can stay healthy, they can bring some pressure. But Notre Dame's O-line ain't messing around. With pressure being brought on a freshman quarterback, that can really help you get an edge in the game. But we cannot fall behind on Notre Dame. You cannot sleep on them, okay? They got great coaching over there. They got great defense. Let's not act like their defense just sucks, okay? But in their last few games last year, y'all, Penn State, there was a few teams put up more than 200 yards on these people. Yes, I know we got thrown on a lot. And, they killed us in the secondary, y'all, throwing the ball on us, man. But we've made a lot of adjustments on defense. We want this kid to throw. He's a freshman in a very hostile environment. We want this kid to throw. That's just what it is. But Notre Dame's running back room has depth. Jeremiah Love being one of the best. He'll take the run. He'll do anything. But Price is also a threat. The running back duo is crazy. Probably the best one in the country. They're deep on offense in running backs. That's one thing they will rely on, and they'll use them in throwing. They'll have them receiving, running, everything they can do with them. So the battle of the trenches is what's going to come down to this game. Of course, the quarterback position, everybody, oh, but Miami this, Miami that. Look, Elijah Lofton is someone Miami's going to have to rely on, y'all. The tight end, Maryland at Notre Dame, remember last year he was expected to be way better, but at the end of the day, he ended up falling short. He has some injuries, but he is going to have to be the go-to guy. He's going to have to get more explosive this year. He's not a Tyler Warren, but he did have talent, but last year he was just off a little bit, y'all, but they still did what they did, didn't they? We can give some props to Marcus Freeman too now, but this is not going to be an easy one for him either, y'all. I can guarantee you that. Now, we have to speak on some of the best parts about this Notre Dame defense. They got some great linebackers, y'all. And you'll probably see a setup of 3 linebackers constantly to get ahead of the run and stop Elijah Lofton. Elijah Lofton probably will be the go-to guy. He's shown some great plays, y'all. Okay? Marcus Freeman has to stop the run. If not, he will not win in Miami, y'all. I hate to break it to y'all this way, but he won't win it. If he can't stop the run in Miami at home, he's not going to win this game. Okay? CJ Carr, we don't know what to expect from him. Yes, Carson Beck was injured. That's cool. But at the end of the day, y'all, Mario Cristobal is not a bad coach. Marcus Freeman is not a bad coach. Both of these teams are powerhouses. Let's just be real. Miami has a lot of haters. You guys can jump in the comments, hate all you want. I don't care. It's cool with me. But I'm going to let y'all know right now, this Miami team is on the come up. This first game of the season is going to be a tough game, and it's going to show who's really built. Because this trenches battle is going to be crazy, y'all. Of course, football has changed. Last time they played, when the game name Catholics versus Convicts was adopted, right, by Brent Musberger, he named it that because of the environment in 1988. Fist fights flew and everything when they came out of the signal tunnel in South Bend. They changed the procedures and not letting the players come out of there. It's no secret that this team has had smoke in past history, y'all. But Carson Beck has made it very clear he's trying to come out and be a top prospect in the draft. NIL's around now, y'all. He's going to come out and show his butt off, play his butt off, y'all. And I expect him to. CJ Daniels at wide receiver, he's actually tall. He's pretty good. Malachi Tony got a lot of speed on him. We got Trader, not to leave anybody out. But, yo, we do got receivers that have talent. They're just not proven. That's all. But we got receivers to do it. We can drive this ball down. One thing you can't stop at Miami, if you do, then you probably can win the game, like I said, is that run game. Because the O-line is impeccable, y'all. The O-line is great. Going to be a lot of top draft picks there, on their roster. I can guarantee you this next draft, a lot of those O-line men are going to be drafted. Just imagine being a freshman quarterback and you come into Miami, where the Miami fans go crazy and it's hostile. And it's all on you, yo. Yes, all on you. You're hearing these plays. You're a captain to this team. Yes, you got your running back, Jeremiah Love, to help you and all that. But can they completely bail you out of a situation? Can they? Yes, particularly if the defense stinks completely. But with the changes Miami has made, they've addressed the defense, y'all. Now, if you give me the same Miami defense from last year and it hasn't made no improvement, I'm sorry, but I don't see us winning it because Carson Beck is not Cam Ward. Cam Ward saved Miami in a lot of situations. We all know this, y'all. The defense, why we lost to Syracuse. Every game was literally less than a touchdown we lose, but that's where we fell short. The defense had just one stop and one stopped one score from each of these teams that beat us, they would all be W's. We would have went to the ACC championship. Then again, would we have won with that defense? I don't know. It would have had to be a shootout. But it all came down to what Cam Ward's performance would be. I see Miami being a more spread out team now. Okay. So what I mean by that is yes, the chemistry has to come together in them, and they have time to do it. Carson Beck is back throwing. I'm comfortable with that. His injury was everybody's question mark. I don't know. Carson Beck has a lot of haters. Everybody forgets Georgia dropped passes last year and led the league in it. And that's why I'm going to make this video real short, and I'm not going to hold y'all for too long because this is a quick prediction video for 2025 opening up. But when I see the edge and what these quarterbacks are going to have to come and do, even the sophomore, if Minchie ends up being the starter, because no matter how it goes, it's going to be a very hostile environment, like I said, and that's just how it's going to go. Just like if Miami was going into into Notre Dame. Let's just be honest, it's not an easy one. So you're coming home. But yes, you're the defending national champions. Now, Marcus Freeman is a genius, y'all. This is the main thing about me with this whole situation. That guy can coach his butt off, y'all. So my opinion, honestly, is that he's obviously they watch film, they study these things, they see weaknesses, but how can you really study a team that's completely new? In the transfer portal, Xavier Lucas, Zachariah, the linebackers we got. Like, yo, we really went to this transfer portal, new receivers, Keelan Marion. We really special teams. We really went to this transfer portal and stacked this team up. And now we're just building it up, even the recruiting classes. So how can you really study film on a team that's so different now, right? With the transfer portal changing everything around now, how can you study that team on film? You can see the top plays they call. You can see everything. They're doing the same vice versa. It's the same vice versa, but Miami knows one thing they do have to attack, and it's the run game. Notre Dame knows one thing they have to attack, and it's the run game. Unfortunately, Notre Dame is away. It's not a home game for them. They're going to be on the road. Can this freshman hold it down for Notre Dame all the way through this tough games? First, he has to beat Miami, y'all. And it's not going to be easy. I'm looking forward to this game. I will be there no matter what. How can I miss that? It's a game opening season that's going to be crazy, y'all. Man, I can't wait for it, y'all. But my biggest concern, if I would say on Miami's side of the ball, would be the defense because that's where we fell short at last year. I actually feel good about Carson Beck now, and we got Lofton and a good run game. So I feel good about him. He's a veteran. Play calling, learning schemes, all that. I feel good about him. That's just me. He's a veteran. And the defense is where is the question mark for me. The receivers being able to get open. Because look, y'all, these cornerbacks and these safeties over here in Notre Dame ain't nothing to be messed with. Will Malachi Fields, wide receiver, do good for Notre Dame? Will tight end Eli Raritan do good? That's a good question because remember it. Like I said, he had injuries last year that stopped his full potential. Can you block the best running back in the country? Your linebackers have to be great, confident. Corey can build linebackers, which is a great thing. And I'll repeat it again. One of my biggest worries is that nickel, man, because Great House, I saw that guy make so many damn plays. It's not even funny, y'all. Can they stop Great House? I feel good about our secondary, though. I really do. But the D line for Notre Dame, y'all, they're just a little bit smaller against this Miami O line. The big O line is going to get that run game open, y'all. I'm sorry. But like I said, Notre Dame's linebackers are really good, and they're going to try to stop that run. It's not going to be really hard for them to do if they have their confidence and their linebackers are on their A game. It's not ever going to be an easy thing to do, but I'm just saying if they get their momentum early in the game, you can't fall behind on the Hurricanes, right? You can't do that. Not when they're playing at home. Okay. The big question too is can they replace Xavier Watts, who was elite? But Notre Dame dealt with injuries pretty good last year when they even had to replace cornerback Benjamin Morrison. They played pretty good, y'all. So in my opinion, yeah, they got a new secondary, but they've done good when they've had to bring in their backups for injuries. They went to the national championship. They lose Riley Leonard. We lose Cam Ward. It is what it is, right? The battle of the trenches, Catholics versus convicts, y'all. Convicts, they give us that name, the aura, the swag that Miami brings. They got to just give Miami that because also Miami had a lot of problems back then, a lot of drama around the school, and Miami has always been a top hated school. And it's like Jimmy Johnson said one time, they hate you because they ain't you and they're not the great you. When you're doing great and you're playing great, which Miami did in those times, they were a powerhouse team, y'all. They were really hated. And that hate has carried on, y'all. That hate has carried on. Lately, this past decade, yes, Clemson has been the talk of the town for the ACC. We haven't slayed our dragon. Cool. Dabo Swinney, great coach. Much respect to him. So we have to slay our dragon and get over that. I'm just speaking on Notre Dame, y'all. So who wins it? the battle of the trenches, Catholics or convicts. Of course, my final prediction of this game, I think, was CJ Carr being the quarterback he is, Jeremiah Love being the running back. Okay, CJ Carr, if he comes in and snaps and he's on his A game and he's very sharp, hey, y'all, Miami might be in trouble if he can make some good throws too. If we got a pass game, we got to worry about and a great run game. But if we can demobilize one of those, we have a great chance playing at home, y'all. It's going to be crazy. So if I had to tell y'all my final prediction and what I thought this game would come down to, I really think this game would come down to a field goal or two, y'all. My final prediction in this game, if I had to give you a score, it would be 27-24. Miami Hurricanes win. That's how I see it. Miami Hurricanes win their game opening season game and they take it. Yeah, you could say I'm being biased because of this, because of that. Oh, I don't know nothing. Hey, look, I know enough to tell you that at home, Miami ain't nothing to be played with, especially not with the coaching staff and everything we're building there. I could take a loss if we take it, but I really do believe that this game will come down to a field goal. 27-24 Miami's way, y'all. I really do believe that. I don't believe our running game can be stopped all the way. And yes, he's not Mark Fletcher and Jordan Lyon are not the top running back duo in the whole nation, but they're up there. But the O line we got compared to the D line Notre Dame got. Hey, remember, you don't have to get explosive 15, 25 yards every freaking play. You don't have to have Carson Beck throwing over the top 100 yards. You don't have to do that. You just have to go inch by inch, foot by foot, yard by yard, y'all, and work your way down the field and score. And then that defense has to show some grit, get some turnovers. We need more turnovers. We need to stay healthy. Okay, but I mean, it's the first game of the season, and that's why I'm saying this. They're going to come in hungry, both sides of the ball. Both got something to prove. This game is going to mean a lot to both teams because they're both national championship contenders. They both want natties. So they're building to that. This first game for both teams has a lot of pressure on the line, y'all. So can this freshman, that's the main thing with me why I'm taking Miami on it. Because we got a veteran at quarterback coming off of an injury. Okay, yeah, but he's throwing already. And he has these months to learn the scheme. They say he works hard. They say he studies film. They say he does what he has to do. Some people have said he's not a great guy to get along with, but that was his alma mater, like his former teammate, that was at Georgia, the quarterback, Gunner. But hey, what can we say? So that's why I'm getting the edge on I'm giving the edge to Miami just because of that, because I think the environment Carr's coming into. Now, Carr could be this great quarterback that is aspiring, has a great season because, I mean, it's Notre Dame. He has to have some skills. They're not just going to kick the other quarterback to the curb and not see no potential in him. It's happening. All right. They see potential in him. Now, can you execute that potential against the enemy in the field? Simple. Carson Beck has done it. He's failed and he's done it, but he's done it more than anything. Last year had a lot of drop passes, threw for some picks, had his injury, but he took Georgia, won a lot of great games for Georgia, y'all. Let's not forget that he's a veteran, y'all. So, my opinion, the battle of the trenches, Catholics versus convicts. Miami Hurricanes win it 27-24, get their first win of the season. And if it doesn't play out that way, Notre Dame came to play ball. They took it, they won it fairly. And it was just a pleasure to be here and watch another college football game of a rivalry that goes way back, that people just got to know the energy is going to be crazy because we're not going to just welcome them with open arms. Like the stadium is going to be loud when it's time to play defense, loud when it's time to play offense. It's going to be loud. So they better get ready for a team that's ready. But yeah, Miami is questionable with the chemistry as a team. I give them that. So yeah, that's why I'm not trying to be biased either. There is a possibility in Notre Dame. They're only favored by what, 2? They're favored by 2, y'all. Miami's attacked a lot of defensive problems and a lot of things in the transfer portal. They're gonna get after winning games. And I think it starts with beating Notre Dame. All right, y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. That's my prediction for the first game opening season. And hey, I wish them the best. I can't wait. We're literally less than 2 months away. What it is, 2 months and a half for this game opening, y'all. And I can't wait for y'all. So much love. Thank y'all for being on the channel. Leave your comments down low. Tell me what you think and how it's going to play out in your opinion. Is it a bunch of bogus what I'm saying? Because a lot of y'all sometimes say it and a lot of y'all sometimes agree. I'm pretty sure the Hurricanes will be down there like, yeah, 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 yeah. And Notre Dame fans will be like, nah, 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 nah. It don't matter, bro. That is what it is. We do it for the love of the sport. But yeah, Miami going to win it. That's how I see it, not just because I'm a Hurricane. Because if we would have been the team we were 2 or 3 years ago, I wouldn't, and facing this Notre Dame team, I wouldn't be saying we're winning. Because all around, I'm just doing journalism on sports. So it's like, I'm just got to give you my real opinion. And when I look at all the edges we have around that we've polished and sharpened and the past history Corey Heatherman is bringing, the changeup of the the defensive coordinator, you know, all of this that we're bringing, the filling in on the linebacker, on the secondary, corners, Xavier Lucas coming through, you know, all these moves, Carson Beck being there, we got Luke Nickel at backup if something happens. I really believe Miami will have the edge at home, especially being at home. That's something I really do believe makes a big difference in this battle. Can't wait for the Battle of the Trenches, y'all. Thank y'all once again. I'll see y'all on the next one. Tony Talk CFB.